it's a bit like this. What I always tell people is, if you have a car, you have car insurance, right? Car crashes, pays for the car. You have home insurance, so if there's a flood, your home gets paid for. Okay, that's why we have that, right? We don't have any money insurance, and so they think I put my money in the bank, so whatever I have is in cash, or I have it in the bank. If there was a run in the banks tomorrow, which could happen, the bubble is so big, the debt bubble is so huge that the whole thing could collapse like that.
Welcome to Rethinking the Dollar. Today I'm excited to have my guest, Mr. Brian McGinty. He's a director of a gold bullion company based out of Ireland, and today he's joining us to share his thoughts on the importance of having precious metals in your possession, as well as some of the most recent events surrounding our global monetary system, which makes owning gold a very important time for us all to be, educated on at this current moment. So, Brian, welcome to Rethinking the Dollar.
It's great to be here. Great to be talking to you. I've been following your YouTube channel. Really excellent stuff. Good information on there. Good to see.
Well, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. So as always, my goal is I love speaking with people that can offer education and really relay to the audience the importance of having gold in their possession in this day and age with so much stuff happening around us. And so before we actually get into the full nuts and bolts of why having gold is so important, I typically start off with some rethinking the dollar questions. And the first question is, what comes to mind when Brian McGinty hears the words rethinking the dollar?
Well, rethinking the dollar, whenever I hear that, I think on education. I think on rethinking what we've been taught in schools. I spent the first 35 years of my life in the dark with the lights out, if you like. I'm 41 now. I was 35 years old. I had a fantastic business. Everything seemed to be great. I had cars on credit, I had credit cards, and I was doing what everybody else did, what we say here in Ireland, what the sheeple are doing. So, and then suddenly, because of no fault of my own, I lost my business, just like that. I ended up losing my house, I ended up losing friends, losing my home, and very, very quickly, I ended up staying in my friend's apartment. I had no food, I had no job, I literally one day was about to sell my bicycle, and I had to sell my bicycle there for €100. So rethinking the dollar, if you like, and from where I've come from then to now, rethinking the dollar is the same as rethinking the pound, rethinking the euro, rethinking the yen. What we have been taught about money through our education system since probably the late 60s, early 70s, is driven towards debt. It's driven towards a debt-based society. Whenever I talk to people, I say, what's the most important thing in their life? And they say, well, having enough money to live. Okay. So whenever we go to school, what are we taught? We're taught, go to school, get good grades so you can get to university. University's 3 years of debt. Mm-hmm. We get out of university, what do we have to get? A credit score. What's a credit score? 4 years of debt. Okay, so then we get out of university, we need a car to get to our job, so we get another 7 years of debt. So we get a car note, a car ticket. Then what do we do then? We need to get a house, so we get 25 years of debt. Mm-hmm. Then we chase we're just chasing this debt till we're 65. Then we retire probably. The average lifespan is 70, so we get 5 years to live, and then we die. And the government takes 40% of the value of your house off us in inheritance tax. Yeah, that's what everybody's doing. So if everybody stood back and looked at what we're actually teaching our children in schools, what we're actually asking them to do, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. Yeah. And it was only after I lost my business and had zero, it actually got me thinking, what have I been doing for the past, whatever it was, 17 years of my work life? And it's not by accident, nothing happens by accident, but gold came into my life, and someone said to me, would you be interested in a gold business? Now, considering I had zero and I was down and out, I felt like strangling him. I was like, are you having a laugh? Gold? Yeah. This is gold for the masses. This is gold. Everybody can afford gold. And I was like, you're crazy. Go away. Yeah. and long story short, he asked me to watch this video, and that's how I got involved in gold. And it's been the financial education of actually just owning gold has been phenomenal. Really, right. Really.
Understandable there. So, that's a great explanation of how you arrived to the point you're at now. And so, you hinted on a couple things there, and you were describing a scenario of what we call the rat race. You're caught up in the rat race, and you're always looking for a way out or a better wheel that goes faster is what you end up finding yourself on. And so education is key. And so part of the organization you're part of, which is Karatbars, you're a managing director. And the biggest thing is promoting education on why it's important to put gold back into the people's hands, since it was removed from circulation many, many years ago, many policies and whatnot in every country. How's the educational journey been for you now that you're involved with gold, you have gold in your possession, and you're helping educate people on a regular basis? What's the educational process been like for you?
Well, whenever I started with the company, one of the first things someone told me in the company was, right, Ben, if you're going to start selling gold, you need to understand money. You need to understand the history of money. So the very first thing someone asked me to do was go and read a book called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
And so I read The Richest Man in Babylon, and the thing that stood out there for me was that if someone actually saves 10%, then finds a way to find the rest for, people say there's too much month at the end of my money. Well, the thing is, if you save 10%, guess what? You will find the rest of the month will look after itself. And then I started learning about compound interest, and I compared. I remember one day I compared putting 20,000 euros into a house and then paying a mortgage for 25 years and what I'd have. And then I went back 25 years, and if I'd have put 20,000 into gold and saved a gram of gold every week, rented a house for less money and then put that extra money into gold, I'd ended up 3 times richer with the gold.
Yeah.
I thought this is crazy. And the biggest education I had was when I found out that 60% of all the gold on earth is held by central banks. 60%. Yeah. Yet we are in an education system where we're taught, get a good job. The better job you have, guess what? You pay more tax. That's why you want you to get a good job, so you pay more tax.
Yeah.
The crazy thing about it is, we know that the banks and the governments are like this. They're all together. Who creates the education system? The education minister. He decides what the children are taught. Right. He's not going to teach you. Tell you what, guys, what you should do is you should go to university, but however much you make, put 10% into gold, because by the time you're 40, you'll be financially free. We're not taught that in school.
Yeah. Yeah.
But from what I found out, I started saving my gram of gold every week, and then I didn't miss it. So then I started saving 2.5 grams a week, and then I started saving 5. And actually, the more gold I had, the more gold it seemed to attract it to myself, and the more like-minded people, and my business grew. And so it's really about the education side of it, is reversing what the education system has taken 20 years of our life to indoctrinate into our children, and try and reverse that. Right. Now, what I've found is, over the past 6 years, is that some people just don't want to hear the message. The message might be good, and it might be good for them, but a lot of people just don't want to hear it, because they're if someone said to me in Karatbars a long time ago, if everything you knew to be true wasn't true, how soon would you want to know? And I thought that was a great phrase. How soon would you want to know? So that's all we do as a company. We give people the message, which is save. The second, and then we give them the means through Karatbars, which is buying golds in small denominations. So it makes it affordable to everybody in every country. So that's our mission, really, is to reverse. Let's go back to 1967. 5% of the population owned physical gold. Now it's less than 0.01%.
Yeah.
Where's all the gold gone? It's gone to the banks. The banks are stockpiling gold. We're stockpiling little paper rectangles.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So,
debt notes, debt instruments. Yeah. Now I want to move forward, because in talking about the importance of actually owning gold in your possession, you have to really lay a good foundation as to why that might be more important now than it ever has been in history, because gold is no longer, or it was forced out of our mindsets as being a store of value and actual money itself, and everything else being a claim to that. And so based upon events currently happening now, I think things are speeding up rapidly in 2019 as we see more reports about central banks hoarding more gold than ever. So clearly the central banks know something is changing, and things are, some things are happening right now. So you're currently in Ireland, so you have the whole Brexit situation over there, and then the whole EU situation. So there's a lot of political as well as monetary issues that's arising now. Shine a little light on the whole Brexit situation, because over here on this side of the water, we don't hear much, or we hear a watered down version of what's going on based upon your experiences there.
Well, I think the whole thing with Brexit, and all we hear in the UK, all we hear in Ireland is about your wall and Donald Trump. That's all we hear, right? All we hear about Brexit. All we hear about is the wall, right? It's like It's like the media is saying, look over here, don't look at what's going on under your nose, look over here. You know, that's my honest opinion is with all this government stuff, right? And my definite, it doesn't matter if it's Brexit or whatever. I feel like I have decoupled myself from that whole machine. So I feel like that whole bubble is here, and I'm now standing outside that looking in, because I really don't care what happens with Brexit. I don't care what happens with walls, and I really don't care, because through gold I've made myself so mobile, and I've you know, I've got no debt, zero debt. I've got my own gold. I could go now, put my gold into a car, drive to Spain. I can sell my gold in Spain. You know, I'm not in this. I've not left myself so that if there's a bank crash tomorrow, I'm going to get wiped out. That's not. So I suppose that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to teach people, forget about Brexit, forget about walls, forget about all that stuff, because you're not a tree. You know, you're not a tree.
Stuck.
Dogs can come and pee on you.
Yeah.
If you don't like where you're at, if you don't like your government, if you don't like your whatever, you don't have to change the government. Change where you are. Go and live somewhere else. You know, you can get on an airplane now and move. We're not. So whenever I hear people in Ireland or UK or Europe complaining about their situation, move.
Yeah.
Our God-given gift to get up and go anywhere we want, anywhere else in the world. I've moved to London before. I've moved to Portugal. I've lived in Portugal. I would quite happily get up now and get on a plane and go and live anywhere in the world, because if I don't like the situation and the political situation, then I'll remove myself from it. But I think government and media, all they do is talk about Brexit. No, the uncertainty, and this is bad, and what if this happens? And you know, who cares really? And that's my honest opinion. I really don't care what happens with Brexit. And I hate to see good people wasting their lives, wasting their time, wasting every day talking about it. Why don't people just think on, I'll tell you what, if X happens, I'll do that. If Y happens, I'll do that. And hey ho, whatever happens will happen. I'll be fine either way.
Yeah.
Because we're in charge ultimately, not the government.
Right. Right. I agree 100%. And so the biggest thing is, you know, you have the opportunity to be mobile to where you can relocate if need be, but a good portion of the population may not have that privilege necessarily. And so that plays into being able to become more proactive with your savings, your investing, and just taking matters into your own hands. And as you say, not depending upon your government, so that you can have options. So that plays right into the next question as far as where we're at now. As I mentioned before, the banking sector is real turbulent as far as what's happening in Germany with Deutsche Bank and all those issues. So there's a big concern on how people save. And so talking about the opportunity of saving in gold and how that might be important now, given the fact we see what's happening with currencies, we're hearing about all these rumors about banks having issues. Let's talk about the opportunity of saving in gold and how that could be beneficial in case you wanted to be able to be mobile.
Well, it's a bit like this. What I always tell people is, if you have a car, you have car insurance, right? So if the car crashes, pays for the car. You have home insurance, so if there's a flood, your home gets paid for. Okay, that's why we have that, right?
Right.
Medical insurance. People don't have any money insurance, right? People don't have any money insurance, and so they think, I put my money in the bank, so whatever I have is in cash, or I have it in the bank. If there was a run in the banks tomorrow, which could happen, the bubble is so big, the debt bubble is so huge that the whole thing could collapse like that, okay? Yeah. And there's going to be thousands of people standing with their little plastic Visas and MasterCards, and they're going to be stood there in a big line, and they're going to be looking at each other, and they won't be able to buy some butter or a burger or whatever it is, or a liter of milk or whatever it is they want to buy.
Yeah.
That's the situation. All I say to people is, if you have 100 euros in the bank, have 10 euros worth of gold. If you've got 1,000 euros in the bank, have 100 euros worth of gold. Have 10% in gold, because then if there was a bank collapse tomorrow, so much money will go to metals because it'll be a safe haven. So much money will flow that direction that the value of the gold will probably come up to meet. Money never disappears. It just moves around. It doesn't evaporate.
Right.
If the bank crashed, and that money will be moved by the people in the banks or whatever into metal. And it'll go into metal, the value of the gold will come up to reach wherever, so that the 90% loss in your bank account will be met by the gold. So I say to people, what's your money insurance? And they go, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, what if the bank crashed tomorrow? And they go, well, the bank's not going to crash. Okay. I say, well, and then they'll say something silly like, oh, well, the bank covers me up to the first 80,000 euros. If the bank goes down, I'm covered for 80,000 euros. Okay, so if all the bank goes down, the banks go down, the insurance companies fold. Who's going to pay the 80,000?
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to pay it?
Right.
You've got a piece of paper saying they'll pay it, but who's going to pay it? Right?
You know, and speaking of which, not to cut you off, but yet as you're describing that, a bank comes to mind that I believe is in your area. It's called BlackRock.
Yeah.
And so is BlackRock still up and running? I remember there was issues
Northern Rock just disappeared like that.
Northern Rock, yeah.
That was 2009. Yes.
Yeah, so as a result of all the chaos that happened, Northern Rock in your area is no longer in existence. And I'd imagine a lot of depositors and investors in that bank probably didn't see that coming. And that's a primary example of how things can happen. So I wonder how many people were diversified or had a hedge against their own conventional financial savings measure. So,
and there was another bank here in Europe in Cyprus, and they decided one day they needed money. So what they did is they give a haircut, basically a haircut. Anybody who had over 100,000, they took X amount off their accounts.
Mm-hmm.
And banks are completely allowed to do that. So, you know, you have a bailout where the government comes in and bails out the bank, but then you have a bail-in where they take the money off the people who, so they take 10% off everybody's balance. So you just go and your balance is like, you know, and what I think people are not looking at the minute is there's lots of this happening in the UK where like all the different big banks, you'll see on the news today, 5,000 account holders. There was a technical hitch with the bank account. You know, there was a hitch, and the investors' accounts went to zero, various different things, and then there was money disappeared, and they couldn't access their funds. Now, it's only my opinion, but I believe a lot of this is actually hacking, and it's hackers. And it's hackers getting into the systems, and they are able to eventually get rid of them, or the funds are gone, and they're able to replace the funds. But they're not going to come on the evening news and say, "Hey, everybody, we were hacked today."
Yeah.
we lost 6 million this morning because we were hacked, and you know, they're not going to say that, are they? Because there would be a run on the banks the next morning. So I would say to people, don't necessarily believe that all these hitches, as they call them, are hitches. You know, because at the end of the day, let's say a big bank. If there's a big bank in the UK and they hire a guy and he's like the anti-hacker expert, and they give him $1 million a year. They won't but let's say they give him $1 million a year. Well, the hackers are going to earn 20 million for hacking. So the person who's earning more is always going to have more
incentive to really work on their craft. Yeah. Interesting, man. Yeah. So that's just more of a reason why, you know, educating yourself, broadening yourself outside of the conventional model is probably more important than ever. And so let's talk a little bit about the opportunity Karatbars. So we've spoken before, so I've had a chance to get to know you a little bit. So I've enjoyed learning from you, as well as I mentioned, you know, getting packages in the mail often. So there's a lot of opportunity out here for people to become proactive. And so this is, of course, not financial advice. This is just two gentlemen sharing an opinion based upon results. Actually, you know, on the Rethinking It Out channel, we're talking about, you know, get your weight up. That's one of our slogans, where we tell people to get physical as opposed to just being solely digital. And so how important is it, and give us the lay of the land as for the Karatbars organization. There's two ways of actually getting involved. You have the affiliate aspect, and then you have the customer aspect. Give us some of the underlying foundational pieces of finding out more about the organization and getting involved.
Okay, well, to give a bit of background, the CEO of the company, his mission is to get gold back to the masses. His mission is to reverse the trend that has been happening since 1970 or so, right? It's very easy to explain. If you go now and you throw a net over 100 people in the street, and you stop 100 people and you say to them, would you like to buy some gold? The answer they will say to you is, I can't afford, either I can't afford it. The first thing they say is, I can't afford gold, because they assume that a ring maybe is $1,000 or something, and they think it's beyond them.
Yeah.
Even if they thought they could afford it, they'll say, I don't know where to buy it. And then if they did know where they could buy it, they say, well, how do I know what I'm buying is real? It might be fake. Right? So there's your three big problems. And that's why people are put off gold. And the fourth thing, which we found over the past sort of 8 years, is that because of the media have been telling people on the news and newspapers, price of gold is going down, right? You go and ask, just pick 10 people today, and what do you think about the price of gold? 9 will say, price of gold's going down, isn't it? And I'll say, who told you that? I don't know, I saw it somewhere. Yeah. It's all these subliminal newspaper, TV messages saying the price of gold's going down. So those are the four big problems. So our CEO said we need a way to get gold back to the people, but we need to re-educate them first. So his first thing was, let's solve the affordability. So he went to the refinery. he got the same grade of gold that you get in the Bank of England, for example, 999.9, 24 carat, from an LBMA accredited refinery, and there's only 70 refineries that do this. So went to the refinery and said, I want 1 grams and I want 0.1 grams. Now, most people would have no idea what 0.1 gram looks like, but it's tiny. I'll show you in a second. So went to the refinery, got those. So now a 0.1 gram of gold today costs about $5. All right, 1 gram of gold today costs about $50. Now, the price of our gold, when compared to other physical gold suppliers around the world, we know that our price is completely, it might be 10, 20% less. It's actually nearly 20% less than our main competitor here in the UK. Because the function of our company is, Harold, if you like, the CEO, and our mission is really to get gold out, not to be putting such a premium on it that people don't want to buy it, but we just want to get it back out there. We want to get people feeling it and touching it and believing that they can afford it. That's the first thing. If people think, yes, I can afford gold, number one. If they can touch it in their hand, it makes a big difference. So what we've done is, that's how the company started. Over the past sort of 8 years, we brought out a digital way of moving gold around, so you can buy gold physically or you can buy it digitally. So I could buy some gold now in my account. I could send it digitally to you right now. You have it immediately in your account, and then you can have it delivered. Right? Because our big focus is it has to be physical delivery. People are buying gold on like COMEX, for example. There's different markets, but COMEX are trading over 300 times the amount of physical gold they actually have. 300 times. Can you imagine if you went to your local car dealership and bought a Ford, whatever, right? Ford Mustang, right? And he said, I'll look after that for you. Okay, Michael, I'll keep that. And you found out next day he also sold that Ford Mustang to 300 other people. Right? Would you, if everybody knew, wouldn't everybody be around there to get their Mustang, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And people don't read the terms and conditions of COMEX, because in order to get, if you wanted delivery, if you actually wanted delivery, because they say they do deliver. So if you did want delivery, you need 3,300 grams, which is over $100,000. If you have any less than that, you can't ask for a delivery. And the amount of depositors there, I would guess that 90% of them are under the $100,000 mark.
Yeah.
So it's a piece of paper. Look, you can set the spot price gold as like a piece of paper. I could sell you that piece of paper now for $1. That's all it is. It's just a piece of paper.
Yeah, good point.
And the moment the public all realize that they've only got pieces of paper and it's not physical gold, then they're all going to be in there trying to get it out. And then we've got a problem.
Yeah.
So I personally don't have any, I have some digital gold with Karatbars, but I also keep X amount of physical gold as well, in small denominations. And that's really, really important.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that you mentioned, which is something that I've come across and just, and further educated myself on the opportunity here, is that, the response is that, it's expensive. As you mentioned before, one of the 4 things, it's expensive. And, do I really need to have physical gold in my possession now? And so, if someone came at you with the idea that I can wait, I have time, that dollar is going to be around for a while. Why would I actually go start saving gold now? Why would I do that? What would your response be?
Well, I suppose my immediate response would be, if, for example, the bubble did pop now at the moment, if the big, huge, massive debt bubble, it's even bigger than it was in 2008, right? Yeah. It's a bit like, if that did happen, the banks, the ATMs are going to go off. The doors are going to close in the banks. That is an absolute stone cold fact. That's because they won't be able to handle the amount of people looking to withdraw. It's like I said to some, do you wait until you have a car crash before you insure your car? Do you wait until your house burns down before you buy insurance for it? Do you wait until you're in hospital before you get medical insurance? Why would you wait until it happens to get the insurance? Now, here's the nice thing. If you pay car insurance, that's money that disappears every year. If you buy yourself some gold as insurance, well, guess what? You get to keep it.
Yeah.
It's like paying your premium, but getting to keep the premium.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Oh, man. So
why on earth would you wait until you have a heart attack before you get medical insurance? You know what? Okay, I said, if you think the dollar's going to be around for a while, right? That's great. Put 10% into gold. The dollar's going to be around. You're going to be happy. Give the gold to your children.
Yeah.
If the other thing happens, you've got the gold. It balances up what you've lost. Everybody else is queued up at the ATM, and you've got your gold.
Yeah.
It's a no-lose situation. Completely no-lose. And nobody's asking you buy the gold and not get it. People are saying we're saying buy the gold and keep it.
Yeah, good point there. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the things happening with the program of Karatbars. A lot of things happened this year. We were talking a while back, and you mentioned just laying out a timeline of everything that's happening, which is very exciting because they have the actual physical gold in gram form, which makes it unbelievably affordable. Then they have the cash gold aspect. Go ahead and share with us what that is.
This is a 1 gram Karatbars gold here.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a 1 gram piece. So in here we have the gram of gold. You have the Karatbars logo, which is stamped into the gold during the manufacturing process,
mm-hmm.
Which is pretty unique. We have the serial number. We have the nadir, which is the refinery, the LBMA accredited refinery. We have a hologram in the back, which is like a hologram, which is extra security. So there's lots of security features on here. We have the signature, assay signature on the bottom. And we also have a DNA biomarker on this as well, which is a special coating, which is on all Karatbars products, which is completely unique to the Karatbars cards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a 1 gram. Then we have a 3 gram, which is this one, and you can tell it's just 3 because you've got 3 pieces here. And then 6 gram, which is this one. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's 1, 3, and the 6, and then in note form. Because whenever we were working in countries like Africa, as I said, a gram of gold, $45 or $45 to $50 is a lot of money in some developing countries. So we brought the gold into a 0.1 gram format, which is here. So this is a 0.1 gram note. You can see it's just like a paper note. We have our silver seal. You see this in European banknotes. I think it's on the Canadian banknotes as well. It's not on the US dollar, but
it's in the $100 bill. They have it infused in between the fabrics or something like that. So yeah,
we have that on here. Again, this is the actual physical gold again in the note.
Yeah,
so that's 1 and 0.1 gram. And we have a 0.2, a 0.4, which is your 4 pieces of gold here, and then we have a 0.6.
So different denominations of gold. So I assume with the cash gold, the actual paper, so the idea of having gold infused into paper gives that piece of paper or that note value because it has gold in it, which is a great idea. And so I would love to see that circulating in the streets and in people's hands. That would be something that would give people some options. People in Venezuela definitely could use stuff like that, I'm sure.
Well, I'll give you an example. I have a team in Puerto Rico, okay? And my team in Puerto Rico last year, they had the hurricane.
Yeah.
And then I have the pictures. My guy down there is a guy called Jorge. He's been bringing gold to people for a few years with me. He's a pilot. The hurricane came through. People weren't able to get any money out of the ATMs. Okay. The shops were saying they wouldn't accept cards and they wouldn't accept US dollar cards. Okay. So they went to the bank, but the bank was only giving money out on non-US dollar accounts. So now we have, as a company, we have our own MasterCard, which we give to people all around the world, but it's a European MasterCard. So they were able to use this. And then because they said, on the shop windows, it said cash only, cash and gold. It said in the window, cash, gold, and silver. So people were able to take their cash gold in and use this in Puerto Rico. They were able to go into the shop and buy milk, buy bread, buy stuff with it.
So it was actual signs that said cash, gold, or silver accepted only.
Because they couldn't do normal
transactions. Right. Interesting. I know about the cash, of course, because everyone would be willing to accept paper, but yet the gold and silver mentioned on what they accept is
they had it in the windows, written in the windows, cash, gold, or silver. So people they knew they were able to take pieces of gold, so people would bring in stuff. So, the queues were like 2 days long just to get food and things like this. So they were able to do that, and they sent me back pictures from Puerto Rico, and they said, "Look, Brian, this is what Karatbars is all about. Puerto Rico is exactly what Karatbars is about. It's like everybody's very comfortable that, okay, there's been no major war since 1945 and no major natural disasters. A huge volcano could erupt in Iceland tomorrow and it could completely black out the sky above Europe for 10 years. These are things that can happen. There's a huge fault line running along down the side of Portugal. There's an earthquake due there. There's normally one every 500 years. The last one was in 1500 and something. So there's these things are not as far away as people think. And if the electricity goes off, or there's huge internet power lines running along the seabeds. If somebody was to take out some of those internet lines, suddenly you've got no internet. Suddenly your credit card and debit cards are not working. So people need to I know everybody's comfortable and everybody's happy, but just be mindful that most people don't have any money insurance. And if you think about it, how much we say cash on the hip, how much actual physical cash on the hip do people actually have in case something did go wrong, you know?
Not much at all. That's because we've become more of a cashless type of society. So yeah. Oh man, interesting. Well, Brian, it's been great having you join us on Rethinking a Dollar to just share some light on the importance of gold and some of the opportunities through the Karatbar opportunity there. And so definitely, I enjoy working with you. And so definitely, plan on having you on the show more often and keeping us up to date on what's happening with Karatbars. So for those out there that have interest in finding out more, definitely I'm working directly with Brian. So there will be the link below this video here that can get you connected to the RTD Gold team, which is all interconnected with Brian and what he has going on, because we're all a part of the same organization. So Brian, it's been great having you join us. Any last thoughts you want to leave us with here on Rethinking a Dollar?
Well, I'd say we're the company's now, we started in 2011. We've got over 500,000 customers now, 130 countries. So we're open in 130 countries already. What I would say is all our gold has been delivered by FedEx Insured Courier since 2011. So no one has ever not got their gold. Okay, it's really important. We work with MasterCard as well. So all our business partners are all paid. We have a deal with MasterCard. We work as well with a lot of Olympic athletes like Real Madrid, different big sporting organizations as well. So it's not like Karatbars is a new company. We're a very well established with a company with a very good reputation. And our CEO or founder, Harold Seitz, he's a senator of the German Overseas Trade Association. He's a published author. So it's a nice home. It's a nice family. All we're trying to do at the end of the day is get that physical gold back to people. If you don't want the physical, you can have it digital. We have a little app, so you can just keep loading your app. And then at any point in time, if you want the delivery, you just go to your back office and you go delivery. Storage is free. So storage is free for life. We do have a set fee to most countries, which is around about $20 for FedEx delivery. But if you wait until you've saved over 100 grams, delivery is free. So that's really it. We have a very simple message. We need to get people's weight up. And my last message is, it doesn't matter if you've only got $100 in the world. Make sure you've got $10 worth of gold. If you've got 1,000, have 100. If you're a millionaire, have 100 grams worth of gold. It's all about that 10% money insurance, as I like to call it. But we're just making it easy. That's all we want to do. We just want to make it easy for people to say yes. Hey, they can go, hey, Mike, I want to buy some gold. You go, here you go, register on the website, buy it. You can buy it with a card. You can buy it with bank transfer. We have a bank account in the United States.
Yeah.
Buy using USA Bank Wire. You can use Bitcoin to buy it. You can use credit card, debit card. So loads. You can buy as little as much as you like. So we don't charge subscriptions. We don't charge ongoing fees. Your account's free for life. It's really a case of register, buy as much as you like, as often as you like.
Right. Sounds good there, Brian. So as always, I appreciate you joining us once again. So there's no excuse for people not to get their weight up because it's affordable, it's doable. And the best part about it is being a part of an organization such as this is always easy to help other people to get their weight up as well. And so everyone needs currency insurance in this day and age. So definitely, Brian, it's been great having you on. Definitely look forward to speaking to you again because there's a lot more going on in the projects that we weren't able to cover today, but we'll do it in the future. So as always, enjoy the rest of your day. It's been great having you on Rethinking the Dollar.